Hello everybody and welcome back to the Drag Detective. I hope everyone had an amazing holiday season, and as we are wrapping up the year of 2021, it's time to finish speaking on one of its most controversial seasons, Drag Race UK 3. If you haven't already, check out my first video on Drag Race UK 3, which is the riggory of, where I dive into everything production riggory and talk about some of the decisions that were made, maybe why they were made. And this is the video then where we look at how the season would have went if production was not rigging anything. Now, this is one of those seasons where one little thing that you switch can change everything, and I was trying to do this myself, going through the season, doing the track records, trying to be as objective as possible, but it seemed like I kept changing my mind like here and there and being like whatever. But then I would see that it would have like ricochet effects on how the season would go, and I was like, listen, let me open this up to you guys. So I let you all vote. I got over 1,000 votes in that poll, so thank you so much. You guys picked what you thought were fair track records, and I am here to show you all how that went. Now, I will kind of speak a little bit if I disagree with something and say maybe why I do, but I actually didn't switch anything. I do feel like overall this is as objective as it's going to be since, there's over 1,000 people's opinions on it. So I am actually very pleased with how this looks, and even if I would tweak one or two things personally, I have to step away and be like, no. This is probably as objective as it's possibly going to get, so I'm excited to share how this season would have went with you all. But first, if you are not already, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, as well as maybe check out my Instagram and my Twitter, where I post some thoughts on Twitter, I post some polls and stuff on Instagram, and also check out my Linktree because I just put out the ballot for the first ever Drag Detective Awards of 2021. You can vote in every single category, 5 nominees in every category for all of the big moments of 2021. The entrance look of the year, the promo look of the year, the most rigged moment of the year. You guys get to vote for all of them. And early in 2022, I will have a video where I announce all of the winners, and there'll be some special guests, we'll just say, to help me announce those winners. So the poll is up. It'll probably be up through the new year. Probably around the 1st or the 2nd, I'll close it. So the link is in my Linktree. Go check that out and make your decisions on that ballot. Also in my Linktree, you'll find links to my Patreon, which is how you can support me. I truly appreciate every single one of my patrons, and I'm excited to bring you guys some more fun content in 2022 over on the Patreon. There's also now at this point a back catalog of around 10 videos that are for patrons only at the $5 tier. So if you sign up in January, you get 10 whole videos. I'm also about to put 2 more out this week as like a thank you to my patrons for sticking with me through this year. So yeah, you'll get around 10, 12 videos, and there'll be more to come in 2022. Okay, so we got that all done. Now we can look at the season. So UK3 started with so much potential. I would say overall I did enjoy this season because of how good of a finish it had. I think episodes 1, episode 3, and then like the last 4 episodes are all solid. And it's because there's no twists and turns and shocks and gags. Like, it's just you hanging out with the queens. And I think when the queens were able to just be themselves and let them be the ones, like, in the spotlight, not the twists, that's when the season truly, I think, was at its best. So we'll have probably less twists this time because a lot of them I do feel were riggory somewhat. So we'll go through it episode by episode. Starting with episode 1, I call it the British Ball. They do it every year. The queens have to bring a look that represents their hometown And then they had to bring a look that was based off of one of their favorite things. So pretty generic categories. How did they do based on your votes? So you had the top two, since there was a top two and a bottom two this episode. You guys picked the top two as Victoria Scone, which, thank you for telling me I was saying that wrong, and Charity Kase. And I would have to fully agree. I think there were a lot of queens that did really well this episode. Both of them, along with Choriza and Vanity and Krystal. I even really liked Ella's looks. But I think overall, Victoria and Charity had two completely different, out-of-the-box concepts. And in that short amount of time, did a whole makeup transformation, did a whole silhouette transformation. Like, everything about their looks was completely different. And I think both of them were fully top tier at the top of their game. So I fully agreed with you all here that they would be the top two. Now, in the lip sync to Total Eclipse of the Heart, who would win? We saw that Charity is a good lip syncer, but I honestly think that Victoria did this really, really well. I think that she balanced the raw emotion of the song and also threw in some funny, gaggy moments. I'm not sure Charity would do as well in a ballad where she can't let out her more weird side. So I actually am going to give the win here to Victoria over Charity in that lip sync. Now for who was the other person in the top, you guys picked Krystal Versace. And overall, I might have picked Choriza over Krystal, but I really do think that Krystal's cat look is one of the best looks of the season. So it's fine. I wasn't a big fan of the Ivy look, but I understand why everyone gagged over it. So she is going to be in the high placement here. Now, for the bottom three, I fully agreed with this, and I'm actually so shocked that it's not what actually happened, but Electra Fence is going to be low. Her first look was definitely more on the basic side, but I think she had a really fun and creative concept with her birthday look, and she definitely took it there with the execution. So that leaves a bottom two of Anubis and Veronica Green. You guys all know how I feel about Veronica's looks in this episode, so no need to hark on them any more than I already have. All we're going to say is she should have been in the bottom fully, and I'm glad that you all saw that and agreed. So between Veronica and Anubis, who is going to win in Sweet Melody by Little Mix, Iconic Bop? Honestly, I think it would have been really fun to just have an entire season of Little Mix lip syncs. You know, they bring the variety, they bring the ingenuity. It would have been really fun. But regardless, I mean, Veronica is going to win. She is a fun dancer. She's a fun performer. And Anubis, I just don't think necessarily sold what the song was asking. But also, Anubis has won my heart so much since her time on the season. I mean, all of the looks that she prepared were amazing. Her personality on social media, if you are not following Anubis, please do. She is such a gem of a human. So Anubis still goes home, episode 1, but we had a different winner and a different person in the bottom two already. So let's just move on to the disaster that was the Dragathon Dance Challenge. I'm so happy you all chose this person to win, because to me it was so clear as day who should have won this challenge, and then when they didn't, I was very confused. So it's Kitty Scott Claus. Kitty Scott Claus won this episode for me, and you guys picked the other queens in the top to be Choriza May and Veronica Green. And I think, I agree. I think that Choriza and Veronica, as well as Krystal and River, all did really well. But I think Choriza, because her group was so lackluster, she really, really stood out. And she had a really fun conceptual runway. So I was fully ready for her to be in the top. And then when she wasn't, I was like, okay. Especially because throughout the episode, she had kind of an underdog storyline, right? She is in a dance challenge on a team with 2 professional dancers, and she's not a dancer. And then when it comes time to the challenge, she knocks them both out of the water. Is that how you say that? Is that the phrase? She knocks them out of the water? she blows them out of the water. I don't know, something like that. And I think it would have been really good storyline-wise to see her in the top get the praise while, the Elektra Fence is in the bottom, which you guys also put her in the bottom, who is the professional dancer that she ended up outshining. And then Veronica Green, I think she just kind of let loose in this challenge. This is right up her alley. She did well. And then the bottom three, here is where we have the riggory of Scarlet Harlot. I mean, it was already in episode 1 where she was in the top. And as you saw from your guys' votes, now she's not, which I think was pretty fair. She had a pretty safe performance in that first episode. This episode, she was safe, and I thought she should have been in the bottom, and you guys did as well. She definitely missed a lot of the moves in the challenge and had a pretty basic runway, so I was honestly shocked that she was kept safe, while someone like Vanity Milan was thrown into the bottom. But after watching the rest of the season and seeing how many times they saved Scarlet Harlot, I'm not shocked anymore. But yes, you guys put Scarlet Harlot as low, and then put Charity Kase in the bottom with Elektra Fence. Now, what would happen in this lip sync to move it on up? One, it would be a travesty to not see Vanity in this lip sync, but she definitely did not deserve to be in that bottom two whatsoever. So, how would this go? It's a very, groovy, fun song, but we did see Elektra Fence just do, way, way too much. I mean, I'm all for a stunt. I love a stunt. But in a song like this that needs some emotion behind it, there's some power behind the vocals and the lyrics. And Elektra was just, we barely saw her face because she was, upside down breakdancing. I think Charity would be able to somewhat sell it better. Again, this is kind of a more serious song. I don't know how Charity would do in a song that she's not able to camp up. I do think that she would do better just because Elektra did way, 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 way too much. Charity would probably stand out by doing less and having a more reserved performance. So I am going to give this to Charity. I think that she's a fun lip syncer, and I think that she could do a little bit better overall with fitting the vibe of the song. So first two eliminations are exactly right, Elektra and Anubis. But we have two different winners and two different people who have been in the bottom. So we're up to the Great Outdoors Design Challenge. You guys know I had so many issues with this challenge. You guys actually picked a different winner than I would for this challenge. I actually loved Scarlet Harlot's looks. But you guys gave the win here to Krystal Versace. And I understand why. I think her design look was really, really solid. It was fun. It was somewhat different. We've seen something like it before. But on Krystal at this point, it was something a little bit different, a little bit darker. My issue with Krystal in this episode was actually her first look. The theme was Happy Camper, and she did a Girl Scout, which is fine. Other girls did Girl Scouts too, but everyone else that did a Girl Scout look had some sort of twist to it or made it their own. Krystal's was just basic Girl Scout. And she even could have put her repeater badges on her sash. She didn't do that. I don't know. I just think it was very, base level idea. Whereas other queens, I think, did a lot better in that category. So for that reason, I personally wouldn't have given Krystal the win. The other two queens that you put in the top were Charity Kase and River Medway. Again, I don't really agree. I probably would have put Charity as safe here. This is the first episode where I kind of don't agree, but I understand why you guys thought this. So those are the top three. For the bottom three, nothing changes. Also, Victoria Scott does go home because she probably still does the knee slide in episode 1. So we have Choriza May as low, and then we have a bottom two of Vanity Milan and Veronica Green, where Veronica Green sachets away. Girl groups. Obviously, the ballad group wins, and that is going to be Ella Day, Vanity Milan, Choriza May, and River Medway. As for the losing team, I don't even... everyone knows, the Frock Destroyers, the United King Dolls. I couldn't even tell you what these band names are off the top of my head. Yeah, so they were the kitty. Oh no, they were the Spice Girls. They were the Slice Girls. The Slice Girls were on the bottom, and that was Kitty Scott Claus, Charity Kase, Krystal Versace, and Scarlet Harlot. Obviously, Kitty is safe and Scarlet is in the bottom, but you guys agreed with me. You put Charity as low, and you put Krystal Versace in the bottom two, lip-syncing against Scarlet Harlot to Who Do You Think You Are? Now, Krystal is one of the best lip-syncers on the season, and Scarlet did fine in this episode. Now, this is the one where she gets the double save against Charity, which people were really upset about because it seemed like Charity would obviously win, and then they saved Scarlet too. In this one, I think it'd be even worse of a blowout. I think Krystal would do amazing in this song, and I think Scarlet would be toast because there's no riggory here, so we're not going to save her no matter how much we love her. And I know a lot of people don't love her. I do love her, but we're not going to save her. So we're moving on, and we have kind of an issue here because the next episode is the Drag Alexa commercial challenge, but there were 8 queens, so there could be 2 teams of 4. Now we're down to 7 queens, so we're going to switch the order. We're going to do Snatch Game, top 7. Then we'll do the commercials, top 6, so there could be 2 teams of 3. So for Snatch Game, you guys said that Ella Vidae won with Kitty Scott Claus and Choriza May in the top, and I would have to agree. Now we have Charity Kase here. How would she do in Snatch Game? You guys said she would be low, and I have to agree. I don't think she would do well, but there was a lot of really, really bad performances in this challenge. River and Krystal were not good. Vanity was not good. So I think that overall, Charity would be low, and you guys voted for a bottom 2 of Krystal and River. Fully agree. I think they both were really bad, and I learned absolutely nothing about these characters. And, you know, we've seen time and time again, there's characters I've never heard of, but the queen kind of teaches you about them as they're portraying them and making jokes as them. Little Edie is a great example. Marlena Dietrich. But for both of them, I'd never heard of them, and I felt like I got no information about them whatsoever. I had never heard of Nigella Lawson or Gemma Collins. Sorry to my UK viewers if that's like a sin to say, but I feel like I learned so much about them because of how well Kitty and Ella played them. So yeah, there's really no excuse for Krystal and River. So they're gonna lip sync to Shout. This was the double elimination between Choriza and River. River actually, I thought, did a pretty okay job. She matched kind of the like uppity fun energy of the song way better than Choriza did. I thought River definitely could have stayed there. But I think that Krystal would for sure beat River in this bottom 2. So River is going to go home in 8th place, still at the Snatch Game, but 1 place lower. So now we have the commercials, and this is kind of a mess because it's really hard to know who would pick who for what team. And I don't think that the season did a great job of showing you the relationships. I mean, we know that Kitty and Charity are friends. We know that Ella and Krystal got along. But, like, there's so many queens. I don't know where they fall. I don't know who they were close to. So a lot of this is really just complete guessing. And also guessing based on who they chose, actually, when it came time to pick teams for the commercials. So, yeah, we're at Drag Alexa, terrible challenge. The original mini challenge winners were Scarlet and Krystal, but I honestly think that Kitty and Charity were funnier than them anyway. I just think Krystal and Scarlet were more interesting people to be team leaders at that point in the competition. But here, let's just say Kitty and Charity obviously team up for the mini challenge, and they do a really funny job, so they are going to be the 2 team captains for the commercial. So Kitty, who is she going to pick for her team? I think she's going to pick Ella because Ella had just won Snatch Game. Ella is obviously funny, and I think she's going to end up also picking Vanity. Charity originally, I think, would pick Choriza May because Choriza just was high in Snatch Game. Choriza's obviously a really funny person. And then she's going to be left with Krystal, who had just lip-synced 2 weeks in a row. So one team is Kitty, Ella, and Vanity. The other team, Krystal, Charity, and Choriza. Obviously here, one team is going to do way better, it's Kitty, Ella, and Vanity. They're all going to be in the top, but as team leader, and just because she was really good in this challenge regardless, Kitty Scott Claus is going to win, which you guys also chose. That leaves us with a bottom three of Krystal, Charity, and Choriza. But honestly, Krystal was pretty funny in this episode, so I think she would be safe. And as team captain, Charity would be in the bottom, and Choriza kind of struggled here and had a very poor runway, so they are going to be the bottom two, and they're going to lip sync to Big Spender. I, as a Charity Kase fan, was obsessed with how she played this lip sync. I mean, she was in this scary tooth fairy, like goblin-y look, and she played that up and was so funny and so just amazing. Choriza, oh my god, what can I say about my love, my pride and joy, Choriza May, one of my favorite queens of this entire year. She did not have a good lip sync when she was in the bottom. That could have just been a flub. If I were her, I wouldn't have expected to be in the bottom for Snatch Game, so maybe she didn't have something really prepared. Whatever the reason was, Charity is going to win this lip sync based on what I saw on the season. So Choriza, unfortunately, is going to go home here still at 6th place. So we're at our top 5. We're at the Fugly Ball. And I was so happy, so happy to see that you guys chose Charity Kase to win this episode. And I would have to agree, looking at the looks that she brought for this Fugly Ball, you could easily say, well, how would she be able to do this? Go from this look to this look in the little amount of time that they had. Luckily, they're both prosthetics or masks, so she could literally just throw that on and not have to change anything. It's not like Krystal having to do a whole new face with blending and contour and all of this. One of them is literally a mask, and the fish look is mostly prosthetics. So I think that would actually be not easy, but easier than Krystal having to take off a whole face and put on a whole new face in, what do they have, like an hour? Charity winning here. And then we have Krystal Versace and Kitty Scott Claus in the top, which I agree with. So that leaves Ella Vidae and Vanity Milan in the bottom two. This is going to be the double shantay. I think this would 1000% be the double shantay. It's too scandalous, which Vanity ate up. But looking at Ella Vidae's track record, she had just had 2 wins and was in the top the 3rd week. And she's a really solid lip syncer. Maybe not in the finale, but in her other lip sync that we saw, she's a really good lip syncer. I think that she could hold her own next to Vanity. And I think this would be the moment where they're like, you have 2 wins. You're doing really well. You did a solid job in the lip sync. You're going to be safe. So they're both going to move on to the acting challenge, where you guys chose Kitty Scott Claus as the solo winner, which I agree with. I think she had a great runway. Really funny in the challenge. I thought Ella Vidae was great too, but I think that they could have just given Kitty the win here and moved on. You guys also chose Ella Vidae and Krystal Versace to be in the top, which leaves a bottom 2 of Charity Kase and Vanity Milan. And they are lip syncing to that Girls Aloud song that Kitty and Ella lip synced to, which was for the top, and no one was in the bottom this episode. We're just going to switch that song to the bottom 2 lip sync. And I mean, let's be real, Vanity Milan is going to send home Charity Kase. But Charity Kase made it to top 5 and went home 2 episodes before the finale. So I think this is much more accurate to how her track record would have been. She had a lot of weeks where she was in the bottom, but she also had a lot of weeks where she was in the top, and she had a win under her belt. So yeah, I think this is very accurate for how I think her track record should have gone. We're at the roast. We're at the final 4, and I mean, this episode is pretty cut and dry. Ella wins, Kitty's in the top, and you have a bottom 2 of Krystal and Vanity, where Krystal sends Vanity home. So now we are at the final 3. We get the iconic Hey Sis, It's Christmas, where Krystal and Ella eat their verses. And we get the final runway, where Krystal eats that as well. But the way I do these videos is whoever has the best track record gets the win in the end. And by looking at these track records, it's very clearly Kitty Scott Claus who has the best. She has 3 wins, tied with Ella for 3 wins each, 3 high placements, 3 safe placements, no lows, no bottoms. I think that Kitty fully deserved to win. Krystal, too, obviously deserved to win. But in this scenario, when we're giving out the person with the best track record to win, it's Kitty Scott Claus, hands down. So how do you guys feel about how this went? Do you agree with how the voting went? Do you think that there were things you would have changed, things you would have tweaked? Overall, obviously I said the little things I would have changed, but I think this is as good as it's going to get for a fully objective season. I try really hard to not throw my biases in, but obviously that's going to be impossible, right? We all have our favorites, we all have our least favorites, and we're all going to cut some slack to the favorites and maybe look at a meh performance from someone you don't like as pure garbage. But, I try to do my best. And I always just try and say this is just my opinion, which means absolutely nothing. We all have them, and I'm sure that if you talk to 30 Drag Race fans and ask them for 30 track records on the season, you're going to get 30 completely different track records. So, yeah, I think that it's just really fun, though, to see how all of your guys' votes came together, and they actually made a pretty solid season and a pretty fair season, in my opinion. So, yeah, I am very pleased that 2021 is over. Let's hope for better things in 2022. But Miss Omicron is coming for everyone, including me. She got my ass. She got my ass hard. So everybody, please stay safe. Please wear a mask. Get vaccinated. Things that will help the people around you as well as yourself. And I will see you all in 2022 for way more drag detective content. I can't wait to continue to grow this channel. Thank you all so much for your support in 2021. I, started the year with maybe 5,000 subscribers, and now I'm at 30. And I'm just so proud of what I've been able to do this year, and I want to continue to grow and continue to do more new things in 2022. So I seriously cannot wait for that, and I cannot wait to have you all along for the ride. Here are the links to all of my social medias, as well as my patrons. I appreciate you all so much. Yes, I'm going to update this patron list for 2022 with all of my new patrons as well. It has been, oh my gosh, the longest day solving the mystery of who is the trait of the season, the fashion queen of the season, Miss Congeniality of the season, and an all-around icon and star. And the Drag Detective has solved that mystery. It is Anubis Finch, everybody. I'm serious. Go follow her. She's insane. She's amazing. Okay, I'll see you guys in 2022. Have a great and safe new year.